and make you feel like you're more energetic.
I can't believe that somebody even asked that. I could have told you that. I'm not a doctor. Look at me. I'm an absolute buffoon. Hello, my friends. Simon the Bored A-hole here. Thank you for joining me as always. And caffeine and coffee and pre-workout is basically the most popular thing about going to the gym and working out. Don't pretend otherwise. And somebody very kindly sent me this video that said caffeine myths debunked. And I love talking about caffeine. You will have seen plenty of videos that have done it before. So I thought, well, we need to go through this and we need to get into it too. And again, these are doctors. These are scientific people. So if they're lying to us, it means they're assholes.
Caffeine is bad for you.
Caffeine is not bad for you. There are concerns about caffeine causing osteoporosis, but when you look at it, the amount of milligrams that you need to consume to cause that are excessive of 700 milligrams a day. The amount of caffeine that's being consumed daily is usually on the order of less than 300 milligrams a day.
There's like colon cancer, head and neck cancers, breast cancer, chronic liver disease, a lot of other kind of inflammatory conditions that we worry about.
So there you go. I would take everything they say with a pinch of salt because I think that's important. But yeah, this is just standard stuff. If you overdose on something you shouldn't be overdosing on, you're going to have problems. But as long as you keep it going the other way, you should be fine. That's it. That's the long and the short of it. So if you're staying sort of 300 milligrams of caffeine below, you're going to be all right. And if you're getting up to crazy 700 milligrams, you may have some issues. Now, actually, a lot of people that go to the gym do have these issues because a lot of pre-workouts will have, like 300 milligrams, 250 milligrams of caffeine in it. And then if you're smashing a couple of cups of coffee too, you may be headed that way. But there are benefits to caffeine, what they say, decreases inflammation, mention stuff about cancers and chronic liver disease. So if you just take in the normal amount, and you know what the normal amount is, you're a smart person, caffeine is good for you.
Caffeine will make up for lost sleep.
That's a myth because there is nothing that could make up for lost sleep other than adequate, restful, replenishing sleep.
All caffeine does is increase your alertness and make you feel like you're more energetic.
I can't believe that somebody even asked that. I could have told you that. I'm not a doctor. Look at me. I'm an absolute buffoon. But no, caffeine will not make up for lost sleep. What it will do is it will mask some of your sleepless symptoms. But your body doesn't go, oh, we didn't get enough, I don't know what you get from sleep, recovery time. But this magical chemical makes me feel like I'm recovered. That's absolutely gibberish. And if you think that way, you've gone crazy. That is not true. That is absolutely, definitely not true. And the doctors have said it as well. So don't think that you can avoid sleep and just have some coffee instead. Especially when it comes to going to the gym. My word, I've said this on way too many videos recently, but I'll say again, it is important. Sleep is when you recover. Sleep is when you grow. Sleep is when you repair your body. You need it.
Decaf coffee doesn't have caffeine.
Decaf may sound like they've completely D'd the calf, but it does not mean that. It just means it's reduced. I think by the FDA, formal recommendations are that they should be 95% of the caffeine.
That's important to note as well, because sometimes, again, if you do have lots of coffee, you think, I just have one more, have a decaf. You know, maybe that extra 15 milligrams or whatever it potentially be pushes you over your personal line when you start feeling bad. So, I mean, I found that out the hard way years and years ago now. I just assumed that decaf didn't have caffeine in it for obvious reasons, but it does. That's all then we really need to say about it. But decaf doesn't mean no, it just means less.
Drinking coffee will stunt your growth.
Thankfully, drinking coffee, drinking caffeine, all those things do not stunt your growth. Most of our growth happens during our childhood and adolescence, of course. Ultimately, once bone growth is complete, then there's no stunting of growth that occurs.
There's every study for this. People say if you start going to the gym too young, it stunts your growth. And I'm sure that probably is true for some specific people. And you could maybe argue that it started my growth. I started going when I was 16 years old. I'm about 6'1" on a good day. Well, 6 foot and a bit, really. But my brother is like 6'4", and my sister's like 5'10", 5'11", which is quite tall for a girl. So maybe I did screw myself up. But ultimately, I doubt you're going to be drinking coffee when your bones are still forming. And if you are, there's massively other issues we need to sort out. I think when you hear stuff about stunting your growth, I'd ignore most of it.
Caffeine in soda is much less than caffeine in coffee.
I think that what's important to know, and I think what people don't really realize, is that it really depends on the beverage. There are some sodas that have tons of caffeine, right? Significantly higher amounts.
Like Diet Coke. Now, I don't think Diet Coke has more caffeine in it than a cup of coffee does, but it does have a lot more caffeine than people realize. And sometimes, especially when you're training and you're going to have those the diet drinks in order to, keep your cravings away, people have it at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night and they go, man, why can't I sleep? Because it's got caffeine in it. Which is why, personally, I'm a Diet Tango Zero, whatever it's called, man, or a Fanta Zero man, because those things don't have caffeine. I bet they do now, and I figured it out, but I don't think they do. So always just check the ingredients. Right? Always check the label. It takes 37 seconds. These days, people have to label every single thing that's in their drink or in their food. Otherwise, they're going to get in trouble. So just be smart. Just think of it like this. If I found something on the floor and I went, put this in your mouth, you wouldn't just do it. You want to know, well, what is that? Treat that the same, right? Companies are stupid too. It's just human beings at the end of the day. So while you think you may trust them, they may actually be dumb.
Caffeine detoxes your body.
They may see something on the internet which promises that no matter what you eat or consume, that if you take this detoxification product, it just takes out all the bad items and leaves you feeling healthy. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. It's better to watch what you're putting in your body before you put it in there.
And what did we just say? That's what we just said. Watch out what you're putting in your body before you do anything. I'd never heard that about caffeine and it detoxing you. I mean, if anything, because it is a chemical, it's not really a chemical, it's not a chemical, of course, it comes from the ground, but because it is a stimulant, I would imagine it screws you up more. I don't know why I said it was a chemical. It's not a chemical at all. That's it now. The comments are absolutely ruined. I know, I'm an idiot, but yeah, I never heard that one. I don't think we need to worry about that, but just know it's not true.
Caffeine dehydrates you.
This is one of those tricky ones that's not completely true. Caffeine is a mild diuretic. If you consume about 300 milligrams of caffeine, it might slightly increase your urine output by about 4 fluid ounces, but that's not a large amount, especially if you think about the fact that a lot of the ways we consume caffeine are filled with water themselves.
See, I find that amazing. When I drink a big cup of coffee from a Starbucks or a Costa, I need the toilet desperately. So maybe that actually ties into something else, I don't know. I mean, I do always try and drink a bottle of water when I have a coffee, obviously. But maybe I've been dragged in by that one. It's a mild diuretic, they said. They didn't seem that fussed. And they said the other things that probably make you thirsty are the fact you're putting sugar and stuff in there. So, man, I've been schooled, but now I'm intrigued. Sometimes I'm like an 8-year-old boy. I'm like, I need to go to the toilet. And then I have to, go in a bottle or something. Not sure, I never go in a bottle. But you take my point. That one I shall investigate.
Caffeine is addictive.
Caffeine is not considered an addicting substance. There is a need to use it oftentimes, routinely, to maintain alertness, especially in the morning or right upon rising. But at the end of the day, it's considered that your physical dependence on caffeine as a substance is not so severe to truly call it an addiction.
I think it's more mental, caffeine. I know some days when I got into coffee then came off of it again, it's more like you missed it. I don't think your body physically needs it like other drugs you can take, but you miss it. You miss the buzz. You miss the way it makes you feel. If nothing else, it can be quite nice. Wake up, it's dark, it's the morning, you read the paper, whatever, check out some news, you drink some coffee. That's just a nice sensation. So when it's not there, maybe you share a coffee with your loved one, etc. So I think that's what you miss. I think that's where the addictive nature is. But yes, as they've just said, there's nothing in it that would actually make you physically addicted to it. Like, it's not heroin, right? I mean, I've never done heroin, but all you got to do is watch any documentary about heroin. You're like, man, I never want to touch heroin. Don't know how we got here.
Having more than 1 cup of coffee a day is bad for you. The general thought is that if you're consuming 400 milligrams or less of caffeine in a day, that's a very safe amount for you to consume.
So that's the same as what we addressed earlier. I mean, again, if you're taking pre-workout, you're taking multiple cups of coffee in one. So that's, when it comes to tolerance as well, it all depends about what you can tolerate. I think he just said 400 earlier, he said 300. Maybe you can tolerate 500. I mean, personally, I would never go... I mean, if I have a pre-workout in a day, I'm not going to have a coffee. And if I have 2 coffees, I'm probably not going to have a pre-workout, etc. I rarely take pre-workout anyway. I barely take caffeine, so maybe I'm not the right person to talk about. But I think it has to be... I mean, if you're drinking loads of coffee or you're drinking loads of pre-workout and you can feel it affecting you negatively, unfortunately, you're just going to have to turn around and go, this isn't for me. My body doesn't like it. Everybody's different. It's the same with genetics, right? Some people go to the gym and they blow up. Some people have to try a lot harder. The best thing you can do is acceptance and move on to whatever it is next.
You won't be able to sleep if you have caffeine at night.
The way that caffeine affects you and your brain really varies from person to person. So we can't have this blanket statement saying, you can't drink caffeine or coffee before bedtime. So part of the reason why people can drink caffeine at different hours of the day has a lot to do with how you metabolize it in your body.
So happy they said that, because it's true, and it kind of makes me look like an idiot a few minutes ago, because I should have thought about this. I can't drink caffeine at night. I was referring to myself in the past having those diet drinks. But some people, of course, will be able to drink caffeine and it doesn't affect them at all. And that's the same in the day, it's the same in the night, it's the same before they go to the gym. I do find a lot of the people that say pre-workout doesn't work for them is because they're just so over-caffeinated, the effects have worn off because your body gets used to it. And if you took a week off and then went back on, those effects would come back. But once more, I hate to delve into repetitive territory here, but you need to figure out what works for you. So if you slam a coffee at 8 p.m, then you get 8 hours of tremendous sleep, you won. You win life.
Caffeine can mess with your heart rhythm.
This is actually an issue that has been studied extensively. There was a recently performed study where they looked at a community-based cohort of over 30,000 people. And what they found was that caffeine intake in moderate levels did not increase risk of arrhythmias.
So they said moderate again, right? Because I know definitely, it's my own fault, one idiot, when I've maybe gone a little bit too on the wild side, I definitely get heart palpitations, and it is directly linked to when I'm drinking that can of coffee, apparently, that cup of coffee. Now, when it comes to anything to do with your heart, ignore me, ignore the videos, ignore the studies. If you're taking anything, coffee, any kind of supplement, pre-workout, whatever, if your heart goes crazy, go see a doctor, go see a GP, go see a physician. Just tell someone, right? Nothing is worth your health. And just because you can read a bunch of this stuff on paper from, genuinely smart, intelligent people, doesn't mean you're not going to be the anomaly. You may be the 1%. That's not where you want to be the 1%, but sometimes these things happen. So don't be having heart problems and going, oh, it's not great. It probably is the coffee. Go see someone, get it sorted out, please.
Tea is healthier than coffee.
I'm going to call it a myth.
Okay.
And the reason why I call it a myth is that you cannot say tea is healthier than coffee as a blanket statement, and it always holds true.
I like what they're doing now. They're refusing to take these blanket statements. Like, I know what someone's doing to that tea, and I don't know what someone's doing to that coffee. Now, I suppose if you're trying to have a less caffeinated diet, then tea would be better, although some teas have crazy amounts of caffeine in it as well. But these people have earned my trust. Not that they had to do anyway. Who am I? Just some bored idiot. But I like the way they're approaching it. I think they're smart people. And now if I see another video of theirs, I'll probably trust them even more. Always forget how important that is.
The way you prepare your coffee doesn't matter.
There's so many different ways to prepare coffee, and it does matter in terms of how much caffeine results in that cup.
I mean, that's a stupid question. Of course it's going to matter. You could leave a coffee to brew for ages, and I think that, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I don't know. I'm not smart enough, but yeah. That doesn't really pertain to us either. The way you prepare your coffee doesn't matter. It does matter, because everything you do matters, and you need to love yourself, and you need to go out there and smash it. I don't know. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell, ding, ding, so the video's going live. There will be a video on the screen. Please do give it a click and leave a comment below. Let me know about your coffee caffeine experience. I genuinely do find it interesting because I think it affects people in such crazy ways. GrillOfMine.com/Simon. Use code Simon. And on Monday, right, is a big old sale. 10% off a lot of things. Check out my Instagram at Simon316 on that day. But also, if you spend over $215 now, which I know is a lot, but the idea is you buy in bulk, you don't have to buy again for ages, you will get international shipping for free, right? And I know that has crazy delivery prices, Grill of Mine. So what they've done is they've gone, okay, well, if you want to buy all this stuff, you can, and you'll get shipping off. Some people go crazy about it. You don't have to buy it. There's no one's going to make you. I like this stuff. I'm lucky to be affiliated with them. Use code Simon to get some money off. In Greg Doucette's Power 13 Cookbook. Again, Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. On Cameo, Patreon.com/Simon316 for my Jim Fells videos and other stuff. Simon.bigcartel.com for merchandise. And it's Sunday too, so Jim Fells video would have gone live today on the Patreon. That's it. Take care. Goodbye.